Hey, what's up everybody? So on this channel I talk a lot about like older phones and like older hardware and stuff. I talk about the iPhone 6, the iPhone 4, 4S, all these phones, but I never talk about the software and like looking back at the older software and seeing how it holds up now. And I was gonna do this with this video. I was just gonna label it iOS 7 in 2018, but upon further research, I personally think that iOS 7 was the most important version of iOS that was ever released. Now obviously iOS 1, the first version of iOS was the most important if you think about it. It started all, whatever. But I think the update wise, I think iOS 7 brought the most, more than any other update ever. And I'm not saying iOS 7 was perfect, because it definitely wasn't. There was a lot of battery drain issues, a lot of crashes and stuff like that, but it just brought so much to the Apple ecosystem that it was so important. Now another important thing to note is that apparently this was the fastest adopted version of iOS in general on any iOS device ever. It apparently was installed on over 200 million devices within the first 5 days. That's crazy to think about it. And that was back in like 2013, and they installed on 200 million devices in 5 days. Think about how many more millions and millions of iOS devices there are. There's probably billions of iOS devices out there. Now one of the most important aspects of iOS 7 that just runs right in your face is the redesign. So before on iOS 6 it kind of had that more older look, but on iOS 7 it brought that more seamless look that if you look on iOS 11 it pretty much almost looks identical. I mean, there's some app changes and icon changes and everything, but the overall design has stayed pretty much consistent, which is actually making a lot of people mad now, including me, because I kind of want to see a change. I'm sick and tired of seeing the same apps all the time. Like the Safari and everything looks the same. The music app looks different. Other than that, they really haven't changed much. And another thing they brought is Airdrop, and I really couldn't find that in here. I tried to look for it, but they brought that in iOS 7, so you can now transfer files and everything. And I use Airdrop probably like 450,000 times in a day, and that's like not even over exaggeration. Like I use it that many times in a day, and it's super important. And I couldn't even imagine living without Airdrop, and the fact that it was brought in iOS 7 is the icing on top of the cake. And I was reading up on iOS 7 and everything before I made this video, and when Airdrop was released, people were releasing like fake news and stuff. They were saying that Airdrop was a way for the phone screen not to break when you drop it on like, when you throw it around and stuff. That's straight up the funniest thing ever. Like I wish like people said that stuff now with Apple features. Like that is so funny. Now another thing we use every single day that was brought in iOS 7 was the control center. So think about how many times you use the control center, and that was not implemented until iOS 7, which is insane. So before you had to go and change the brightness in the settings and turn Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off and stuff in the settings and everything. And if you think about it, we kind of went backwards, because in iOS 11 we have to go back in the settings in order to turn Wi-Fi and Bluetooth off, because we can't do that in the control center anymore. Now I'm going to find every single opportunity I have to say that, so Apple goes back and fixes it. And this isn't even the weird control center like in iOS 10 where like flip back and forth. Like I think if Apple just uses this layout of like the music in the middle, the toggles up top, and like these things in the bottom, I guess, or whatever, that would actually look pretty sick on iOS 11. Maybe like obviously not this exact same thing, but just having that music in the middle and being able to modify and use the music, whatever, that'd be really sweet. And another thing is that multitasking was added. Before, when you multitask in like iOS 6 for example, the bottom would basically slide up. Here, I'll actually show you. So in previous versions of iOS, when you double tapped on the home button, the bottom would slide up and your apps would be here, and you like could slide through, and your music was right here, and it was just actually kind of weird. But if you hold down on here, you can actually subtract or minus or get the apps out of the multitasking, and you could go back in, and that was kind of cool. And low key, like I'm not gonna say this to everybody, but I kind of like that. Like I think that actually looks really sick, but I'm actually kind of glad they changed it. And just think about how many times you use multitasking. So now they add into this. I'm not saying it's 100% identical to what iOS 11 is, but you can see the similarities. This is way more similar to the iOS 11, iOS 10 multitasking bar thing than what iOS 6 brought in their multitasking. Another cool thing was CarPlay. Now I don't use CarPlay, my car doesn't support it, but if it did, that's super cool, and I'm glad they actually did some software thing with cars. I feel like at that time that was an untapped market, and they actually tapped it into it. I heard they haven't really like updated it at all, but that's still pretty cool they did. And last, but definitely probably the least, they added Siri in iOS 7. And the reason I say it's the least, because it came out in iOS 7, and I don't think they've actually updated it since iOS 7. So here, if you hold down the home button, it takes a minute. But yeah, I'm into voice control again. But you can go into settings. My iPhone just dropped. Now I can't really find out how to get it working, but just know that Siri was implemented in iOS 7, so that's super dope. And there were a lot of other like smaller updates as well. The App Store I think got some updates. The settings panel I think got updates too, because this looks pretty current. It looks pretty like modern. So yeah, those are some reasons, and just those reasons in and of itself can probably give you a picture on why I think, and probably you think now too, that this was the most important version of iOS that was ever released. And if you guys disagree with me, then go ahead, go in the comment section and leave 3 emojis. I want you to leave the penguin emoji, the bear emoji, and the dog emoji. And if there's no bear emoji, then leave a cat emoji. And if you leave those 3 things, then I'll get the message that you disagree, so I'll kind of get like a gist of it. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Like I said, go in the comment section. If you guys agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to know. And if you think another iOS version was more important, I'd love to know, you know. I think I have all the iPhones running every single version of iOS except the first 2 versions that I know of. So I'll probably make a video on every single version of iOS and see how it basically holds up in 2018. Like I said, this was supposed to be an iOS 7 in 2018 video, but then I realized how important this is, so hit the subscribe button if you're new, dude. We are hitting so many goals right now, it's insane. The channel's blowing up. So definitely go down there, hit that subscribe button, that'll mean so much. And can you guys go and actually follow me on Twitter? I don't know how popular this video is gonna get, but I'm just gonna throw it in there. Simple Alpaca. Send me some DMs or something. My DMs are open. They're on private, but I can see them. I usually don't respond to any, but send me something. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.